tonight.
We might be able to find alternatives to incarceration, which we should be doing.
Stats show Saskatchewan leads the country in Indigenous incarceration rates. Prime camping spots in Prince Albert National Park make for a stressful reservation process. And the University of Regina women's basketball team looks to keep up its hot streak.
This is CBC Saskatchewan News.
It is Thursday, January 29th, and the CBC Saskatchewan News starts right now. I'm Ethan Williams. Thank you for joining us. Indigenous people have been overrepresented in Saskatchewan jails and prisons for decades. And now the latest data shows the problem is persisting, but this time in a way that's leading the nation. Alexander Kwan has our top story.
Nobody wakes up and wants to go to jail. There are systemic issues that bring people to jail.
Prisoner advocate Sherry Gordon says she was shocked to learn of the latest data from Statistics Canada. During 2023-2024, Indigenous people in Saskatchewan were incarcerated at a rate 19 times higher than non-Indigenous people. That's up from 2 years before and is the highest per capita rate in the country. A Saskatoon-based lawyer says there's a simple explanation for that.
It has gotten worse, and that's because Indigenous people are not a priority here in Saskatchewan.
Gordon and Sunchild say there are many routes that can lead someone to incarceration. They say that for Indigenous people, because of intergenerational trauma, those pathways are often shorter and the sentences longer. They believe the province needs to offer culturally inclusive programming.
I'm not saying that they should get a get out of jail free card, but it helps to show to the court that these people had troubling pasts and they need a little bit of support, and jail's not always the answer.
This summer, the province plans to test out an Indigenous court. It will be based in Saskatoon and grounded in restorative justice.
It's not about just slapping someone's hand. It is really delving into systemic challenges.
Calgary launched something similar back in 2019, and a lawyer that practices in that court says it's effective.
As an Indigenous lawyer, when this court came about, I finally was able to take this breath and say, okay, we are going to start addressing some of these core issues that are driving this over-incarceration.
Eleanor Sunchild says she has high hopes for what the new court could offer.
It's really important for Indigenous offenders and people before the court to have a safe space where they can address some of the issues that they face.
This all comes more than a decade after the Truth and Reconciliation Commission called for a reduction in the overrepresentation of Indigenous people put behind bars. Since then, the data shows Canada-wide, that number has only increased year over year. Alexander Kwan, CBC News, Regina.
The Saskatoon Police Service is getting nearly $2 million from the provincial government, and that will allow them to do some recruitment. The money is coming from the Safer Communities and Neighbourhoods initiative. The force is planning to add around 24 new frontline officers. Saskatoon Mayor Cynthia Block says the focus on community safety is key to law enforcement in Saskatoon.
We must support our frontline officers and make sure they have the tools they need to be successful in our city. There are upstream reasons that we need this type of policing, whether it's mental health and addiction. In Saskatoon right now, some 40% or more of the calls we do in our city are for social behavior.
Saskatoon's police chief says the service is also considering sending 2 of its officers to London to research transit safety. City Council approved the hiring of 9 transit officers during its 2026 budget deliberations. The federal government and former students of the Île-à-la-Crosse boarding school have agreed on a settlement. The school operated from the 1860s to the 1970s. Survivors had to sue for compensation after they were excluded from the broader residential school settlement. The original settlement totaled $27 million. The province also reached a proposed settlement with the former students last fall. A court hearing is scheduled in March to approve the agreements. A county in Virginia has opposed the sale of a massive warehouse to the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. As we told you earlier this week, the warehouse is owned by Saskatchewan-born businessman Jim Pattison. The building was to be turned into a holding facility for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, but local leadership of Hanover County opposed the sale Wednesday. Jim Pattison Development said it accepted an offer from a U.S. government contractor to buy the property, but says it didn't know the ultimate owner and intended use until sometime later. The issue of sovereignty was a hot topic at the First Ministers meeting in Ottawa Thursday. BC Premier David Eby accused Alberta separatists of treason for meeting with White House officials. Ashley Burke tells us more about the accusation and the response to it.
At the Prime Minister's meeting with premiers all about uniting Canada, BC's leader speaking out against what he sees as a betrayal to the country. An Alberta separatist group meeting with Donald Trump's administration.
In my opinion, that is treasonous activity, and it needs to be called out. It needs to be stopped.
The Alberta Prosperity Group has been talking for months about its meetings with Washington. The separatist group is openly seeking a $500 billion line of credit from the U.S. to bankroll a new country if they ever win a referendum.
The people we're meeting with in the United States at a very senior level in the State Department are very clear that Alberta statehood is not on the table. They want a free and independent Alberta.
Now an official with the U.S. State Department confirms talks happened, but says no commitments were made.
I'm talking about crossing the border, soliciting the assistance of a foreign government to break up this country, and I don't think we should stand for it.
It's unacceptable. It's unethical.
Ontario's premier pointing the finger at his counterpart in Alberta to stop it.
This is an opportunity for Premier Smith to stand up and say enough is enough. And either you're with Canada or you're not with Canada.
Premier Smith says she doesn't want to demonize Albertans with grievances that built up under 10 years of Justin Trudeau.
I would expect that the U.S. administration would respect Canadian sovereignty and that they would confine their discussion about Alberta's democratic process to Albertans and to Canadians.
Late last year, the head of Canada's spy agency suggested they'll be watching for any possible foreign meddling in sovereignty referendums. But the Prime Minister wouldn't say if this constitutes foreign interference.
We expect the U.S. administration to respect Canadian sovereignty. I'm always clear in my conversation with President Trump to that effect.
Trump recently called Mark Carney governor and last week posted an AI-generated image online of the American flag covering all of North America. Now, this is the closest that Trump has gotten since the fall of last year to publicly reviving his idea that Canada should become the 51st state. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
Well, with this frigid weather we've been having, camping may be the furthest thing from your mind, but reservations open Friday morning for spots in Prince Albert National Park. And as Lisa Rism reports, it's quite competitive.
Camping in Prince Albert National Park is a long-standing tradition for the Rasil family.
We spend our time with our family there, people gather there. You know, my kids like to work up there. That's where their part-time employment is.
But booking their spot isn't easy. Every year it's a race, either by phone or online. So Corliss Rasil will be logging into Parks Canada's national reservation system at 8 a.m. on January 30th to try to book a service campsite at Prince Albert National Park.
Reservation day, the opening day, is the most stressful day of the entire year, and I know I'm not alone with that because it is a race to get a site. It's a race to see if you're going to be able to have the memories and make the memories with your family up there, if you're actually going to get a spot.
This year, there's even more competition as 160 campsites at Prince Albert National Park's Red Deer Campground are closed for electrical upgrades. That leaves 200 sites at Beaver Glen and 10 Authentics open for camping from May to October. Sites can only be booked for a 3-week stay. Parks Canada says their service campsites are in high demand.
Generally, we do see the entirety of the campground book up on reservation day, and it'll probably be a similar story this year since Red Deer is going to be closed for the spring and in the fall. So it'll be definitely high demand this year for sure.
And if you want to get a jump on booking, here's a tip.
There's going to be no queue-it system this year. It's going to be like a virtual waiting room. So I recommend logging into your account early before 8 a.m. so it'll smooth things out at checkout. So once 8 a.m. arrives, you'll be able to pick the site that you want and then go from there.
Rasil says her family members have summer jobs in the park and need a place to stay. She would like to see the park add more campsites.
And I believe it would be not only less stressful, but it would be something that would attract people to come to Prince Albert National Park or whatever national park, because there's an option for them to actually do so.
If you're unable to book a site, Prince Albert National Park offers 3 other campgrounds with unserviced campsites that are available on a first-come, first-served basis. Lisa Rism, CBC News, Prince Albert National Park.
The Ministry of Highways has been working to repair bridges across the province this winter. 12 projects worth around $80 million are underway from Meadow Lake to Carlisle. You're reminded to obey signage in work zones and check the highway hotline before heading out to see if construction will affect your commute. Stay with us. Weather specialist Mickey Wolf has the forecast after the break. This week, the federal government renewed a call for shoppers to buy Canadian. But that may not be so easy. Some packages our marketplace colleagues looked at seemed Canadian on the front, but information on the back revealed not so much. Rosa Marcatelli explains.
We're at the grocery store on a mission to buy Canadian. For many, that means picking products that were made here with Canadian ingredients. But some products only look Canadian.
I have no clue as to what that means.
Bob Bastien was surprised by Habitant French-Canadian pea soup. The front says designed in Canada. The back, product of the USA.
It seems as though Campbell is trying to sell us a lie.
Campbell's, the company behind the soup, says the label is not new. And it tells shoppers the product was created by their Canadian team, adding it's phasing that label out. Dave Lawson spotted something similar. Betty Crocker chocolate chip cookie mix, labeled Canada's #1 selling baking mix brand. Flip it over, product of the U.S.
This is advertising trying to make it look Canadian when in reality it's not.
General Mills, the company behind the cookie mix, says it is Canada's top-selling baking mix brand, based on sales. The label isn't new, and it reflects the pride they have being in Canadian kitchens.
Where does all this leave shoppers?
Well, it's tough. The truth is, it's tough.
I think we are seeing some maple washing, whether intentional or not. We are definitely seeing some.
So, are there any government plans to make labels more clear? For weeks, the federal minister responsible denied repeated requests for an interview. So we head to Ottawa for answers.
Minister Michelle, Rosa from Marketplace here. What exactly are you hoping to do?
Into everything that can make life easier for Canadians.
Labels in particular?
Labels also.
Labels are part of the package. We look forward to talking to you more about it.
In the meantime, experts say look for the words product of Canada on labels. It guarantees that what you're buying is either mostly or entirely made here with Canadian ingredients. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Toronto.
And for the full investigation, you can watch the Maple Makeover Friday at 8 p.m. on CBC TV, YouTube, and CBC Gem. Weather specialist Mickey Wolf joining us now in this weather. Mickey, at least good for making some cookies or maybe eating some soup as well?
Oh, Ethan, say less to get me to eat cookies and make cookies and soup. It is definitely cookies and soup weather this weekend in the province, although we are looking at a bit of a warm up. Let's take a look at our daytime highs we saw in Saskatchewan today. A warm 4 degrees for Maple Creek. I believe it worked out to be 4.5 degrees for that daytime high, just above freezing. And then we've got those temperatures closer to -20 as we get near to the Manitoba border. That is something we're going to see into tomorrow. But things will warm up. And taking a look at our skies now, we've got a little bit of flurries happening across the south, but let's get a better picture at what the snow is going to look like in the next 48 hours. So we got a high pressure system moving out of Manitoba, and then we've got this low pressure system here moving into Saskatchewan, and that is going to bring some mixed systems with it, possibly falling as rain due to those warmer temperatures we will see beginning this weekend. Then as we head into Sunday, we're going to get a little bit more cloud cover to accompany some of these gorgeous temperatures. But snowfall-wise, we're not seeing too much Friday. Then as we get overnight Friday into Saturday, that's when we're going to see the heavier snowfall amount. So that Parklands region, we're looking at up to 9 centimeters, and then Yorkton and Moosomin, we may see 10 centimeters there. And then sort of from west central down to the southeast, we're seeing about 3 centimeters for the Battleford, Saskatoon, Regina, and Estevan. The north will see moderate snowfall amounts as well. That's going to be happening throughout Friday into Saturday and Sunday. We're going to see up to 9 centimeters, potentially 5 centimeters for most of the Churchill region here, folks. And we haven't seen the last of the wind. We've got a little bit of winds gusting tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. And then Saturday, we're going to see those gusting winds up to 60 kilometers an hour. We've still got some chillier mornings to deal with across most of the province, unless you're in Maple Creek, where things are at a balmy -9 with wind chill. Tomorrow, Regina can expect one more day near -10. Then we've got that snowy Saturday, but again, just moderate snowfall. And then heading into our week, we are going to see a nice little warm up for Regina, and even those winds gusting potentially Thursday up to 50 kilometers an hour is going to feel much nicer with those warmer temperatures. And it's a little bit warmer for Saskatoon. We're seeing that high of -5 tomorrow, and then possibly some snowfall Saturday up to 3 centimeters. And then we've got a warmer work week to look forward to, Ethan. So it could be cookie time, maybe not quite time for ice cream. It depends on what you like to treat yourself with.
Yeah, at least with the snow, more time to make the soup. Maybe we'll both do that.
I love soup time, Ethan, so I'm here for it.
Same here. Okay, thanks, Mickey.
Thank you.
Well, we are coming up to a big weekend of basketball in Saskatchewan. The undefeated University of Saskatchewan Huskies and the one-loss University of Regina Cougars will face each other this weekend in a battle of 1 versus 2 in Canada West. For the Cougars, it's been a great start to a season where they've been chasing a provincial rival and some history. Dan Plaster explains.
Another day means another chance to get better. The University of Regina Cougars women's basketball team are making the final push towards the Canada West playoffs. It was a dream start to the season, winning 15 in a row before losing their first of the season to the University of Alberta Pandas last weekend. It was a setback, but under first-year head coach Michaela Kleisinger, this very experienced group of Cougars are taking things in stride.
I definitely think some of it's experience, right? And some of that is we've got 5 kids who are graduating, so they don't want to give up any of those games anymore, right? They're sick of that. And then I think a lot of it is just I've really tried to phrase every weekend as important for different reasons.
And those 5 players are the ones powering the team. They are led by 2 players who will go down as all-time players in Cougar history, guard Kara Miskey and forward Jade Belmore.
Having that core group of people that you've been with and experienced all the things with, it is so, it's actually indescribable of how special that is to me and to those other people that I have been with throughout the whole time.
I mean, we've been doing it together with this group of people for a long time, so just like knowing each other, knowing how to get the best out of each person, I mean, that's taken me a long time to get through with every single one of my teammates, so yeah, just that time really helped.
The Cougars are chasing their first Canada West title since 2018, but there is a lot stacked against them. They play in the toughest division in Canada with the top 4 teams, including the Cougars, in the U Sports Top 10. And one of those teams that's been one of the most dominant in Canada over the past decade, their provincial rivals, the University of Saskatchewan Huskies. It's a rivalry they welcome.
I think just rely on each other. I mean, there isn't 1 or 2 of us who can get it done. So just knowing that we have each other every single day and just smiling. It's not always going to be perfect. Like you said, there's going to be all these bumps in the road. So just keep going and not getting down on each other, not getting negative, but being able to hold each other accountable in a good way.
But the Cougars also have a long tradition of winning. It's something that has been cultivated over the past 30 years and can be seen on game night.
Looking into the stands and seeing everybody you know there is something, again, indescribable. Like, I love that piece of Regina basketball specifically. There's a huge community aspect of that, and that's also the reason why I stayed here, is because I knew that the community was so just involved, and I love that about it.
Dan Plaster, CBC News, Regina.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders have re-signed receiver Keyshawn Johnson. Johnson led the CFL in second down receptions and caught 86 passes this season, 4 of which were touchdowns. Originally joining the Riders in 2024, Johnson has signed a 2-year contract extension. keeping him with the green and white through the 2027 season. We're back after the break. Welcome back. The Royal Saskatchewan Museum in Regina is showcasing a unique project that's putting Métis culture on display. Métis elder and artist Margaret Harrison is creating a hooked rug, which will be displayed in the museum. It's a traditional piece of Métis art and often conveys a story. Harrison says she is grateful to be able to share her cultural art with the museum.
It's interesting to have the history, and I see that that's what they do, right? They present history, and so therefore it's fantastic that we have a spot to be able to display something that that so many people want to learn to do and want to hear about the story that goes behind it all.
Harrison holds workshops that allow participants to help in making the final project under her mentorship. The story behind this particular rug is about Harrison's life growing up in the Qu'Appelle Valley. She is hoping to finish the rug in 4 months, and when it's done, it's set to be displayed in the RSM's Indigenous Gallery. Some beautiful designs there, and Mickey, some beautiful weather, temperatures anyway, headed our way, it looks like.
Temperatures for sure looking beautiful, Ethan. And you know what? If you love to build snowmen, it might be a really great weekend for you to get out there and do some of that outdoor snow building. Let's take a look at our overnight temperatures for the province. We're seeing overall a nice warm up compared to what we've seen throughout the middle of January. Although that southeast and east central corner of the province, things are still looking pretty cold tonight, down to -28. Strangely enough, it's warmer in the north. We are seeing those temperatures, especially on that northwest side. Looking quite balmy tonight, near -10 for the overnight lows. As we get into tomorrow, we are only going to see things warm up, folks. Got some nice temperatures there, just around -10 and below that across northern Saskatchewan. For the south, we are seeing much of the same. We've got a great warm up, and we're looking at a nice mix of sun and cloud for most of south and central Saskatchewan throughout the day. We've got some nice temperatures to go along with that, especially closer to the Alberta border. So, Ethan, it is a nice time to go outside. Just maybe have some snow gear prepared if you're in that area of the province with snowfall.
Yeah, I know snow lovers will be excited for sure. Thank you, Mickey.
Thank you.
And that is our news for this Thursday. For more news anytime, you can always head to our website or subscribe to the CBC Saskatchewan YouTube channel or download the CBC News app on your smartphone or tablet. Thanks so much for watching.